South Park just shattered expectations again, and this time, no one is safe, including the fans. Secrets, chaos, and total absurdity collide in Season 28, Episode 6. Season 28, Episode 6 of South Park opens with the show diving straight into chaos. Like it always does, but this time, the absurdity feels almost personal. Right from the start, the episode throws viewers into a world where nothing is safe from satire, not politics, not pop culture, and definitely not the town of South Park itself. The first moments set the tone when the kids realize that the bizarre events of previous episodes weren't just random but part of a bigger, far more ridiculous chain of consequences. It begins with Cartman, who's somehow entangled in a new scam that involves AI-generated memes. Yes, memes, because South Park knows exactly how to poke at modern obsessions and turn them into chaos. Cartman's plan is typical, over-the-top, selfish, and destined to spiral out of control. He's convinced that these memes will finally make him rich and respected in the town. But in classic Cartman fashion, he underestimates just how unhinged things are about to get. Meanwhile, Stan and Kyle are dealing with the aftermath of their own schemes from previous episodes, which has left the town in utter disarray. The schools are in chaos, the parents are panicking, and the mayor is trying and failing to maintain any shred of control. The episode cleverly blends social commentary with absurd humor, showing just how fragile authority is when faced with the ridiculousness of South Park's reality. This episode doesn't just mock politics or trends, it holds up a mirror to the internet era, where everyone is obsessed with fame, money, and getting clout, even if it means diving into schemes that are guaranteed disasters. Things escalate when Randy Marsh makes an appearance, as always, dragging his family into something utterly chaotic. This time, he's obsessed with starting a wellness empire based on questionable science and bizarre rituals. The way the show portrays Randy's entrepreneurial madness is pure South Park. It's ridiculous, overblown, and somehow painfully relatable. His attempts to sell the town on this wellness craze collide spectacularly with Cartman's AI meme scam, creating a perfect storm of ridiculousness that immediately pulls viewers deeper into the episode. The comedy lies in the complete mismatch of logic and consequence. The more serious the characters try to be, the funnier and more chaotic the world becomes, adding to the chaos. The episode brings back the meta commentary South Park has become famous for. Characters openly question why the town is so messed up, why scams are everywhere, and why adults never seem to learn. It's a clever way of acknowledging the criticism the show has faced over the years for leaning too heavily into politics or random absurdity, while simultaneously proving that these criticisms are exactly why the humor works. By letting characters vocalize what viewers might be thinking, the episode creates a layered experience. It's funny on the surface, but also smart enough to recognize its own ridiculousness, of course. The episode wouldn't be complete without bringing in real-world references, twisted in the most absurd South Park way. Political figures, celebrities, and trending internet topics are mashed together, with no explanation needed, because the show trusts that its audience will get the joke or at least enjoy the chaos. For instance, one storyline involves a mysterious figure leaking private AI meme codes online, leading to social media hysteria that affects the entire town. The way South Park blends the mundane with the surreal, like kids panicking over a viral meme, while the adults are losing their minds over wellness scams, is a hallmark of its storytelling. The tension builds as these threads start to collide, with each character's selfishness and obsession amplifying the chaos. By the end of this first section, it's clear that Season 28, Episode 6 is not holding back. It's absurd, chaotic, and brutally funny, but beneath all that chaos is a sharp, biting commentary on modern society. The episode sets up multiple storylines that are bound to intersect in the most ridiculous ways, keeping viewers on edge while laughing at every turn. Whether it's Cartman's meme mania, Randy's wellness empire, or the town spiraling into hysteria, South Park proves once again that it can still push boundaries and surprise its audience. The combination of self-awareness, dark humor, and absurd plot twists creates a perfect opening for what promises to be one of the season's most talked about episodes. As the episode progresses, the chaos in South Park deepens and the absurdity only escalates. Cartman's AI meme empire begins to spiral completely out of control. When the town starts treating the memes as if they're real news, people panic over meaningless images and catchphrases, while Cartman basks in the power he never actually earned. It's a classic South Park moment. The joke lands because it's simultaneously ridiculous and terrifyingly believable. Meanwhile, Kyle and Stan struggle to manage the fallout from their own mistakes, realizing that the town is more fragile than they ever imagined. The kids' attempts to fix things are inevitably doomed to fail, but watching them scramble through escalating disasters is endlessly entertaining. In a meta twist that only South Park could pull off, the episode acknowledges its own absurdity. Characters question why anyone would care about memes, why adults keep falling for scams, and why the town's problems are never ending. These moments aren't just filler, they're a way for the show to poke fun at itself and at the culture it satirizes. The dialogue often borders on brutal honesty, like when Stan mutters under his breath about how everything seems completely pointless. The humor is both dark and clever, blending satire with slapstick in a way that keeps viewers laughing, while also reflecting on the chaos of modern society. The episode also shines a spotlight on Randy Marsh, whose wellness empire reaches levels of madness that are almost impressive. In their dedication to absurdity, Randy holds workshops, sells bizarre products, and somehow convinces half the town that his ridiculous health tips are life-changing. South Park has always excelled at exaggerating the worst tendencies of its characters, and here, Randy's greed, arrogance, and obliviousness are on full display. His attempts to dominate the town's attention intersect with Cartman's AI schemes, creating perfect collisions of chaos. The combination of Randy's over-the-top self-importance and Cartman's cunning selfishness keeps viewers on edge, unsure who will cause the next disaster or if anything will ever get resolved. Meanwhile, the show introduces a subplot involving the adults of South Park, who are just as ridiculous as the kids. The mayor, already overwhelmed, attempts to enforce order but quickly discovers that every rule she makes backfires spectacularly. Parents argue over minor details while completely ignoring the bigger disasters unfolding around them. The episode highlights the generational divide between the kids' schemes and the adults' incompetence, turning the town into a perfect storm of hysteria. The absurdity is heightened when real-world references like trending hashtags, viral challenges, and influencer drama are mashed seamlessly into the storyline. South Park's genius lies in its ability to combine fictional chaos with real cultural commentary, making even the most ridiculous events feel like biting satire, adding to the insanity. The AI memes take on a life of their own, literally. In a sequence that is both hilarious and chaotic, the memes begin interacting with the town, causing confusion, panic, and total mayhem. People interpret the memes in different ways, often taking harmless jokes as catastrophic warnings. South Park doesn't just play with absurdity, it pushes it to extremes, showing how quickly the ridiculous can feel real when society latches onto it. The visual gags are subtle but impactful, reinforcing the show's talent for blending social commentary with chaotic humor. Each character's reaction to the meme hysteria reflects their personality perfectly. Cartman revels in control, Stan and Kyle panic, and the adults flail helplessly, unable to comprehend the new digital madness overtaking their town. As the section unfolds, the tension ramps up even further with the introduction of a mysterious hacker figure. This character, shrouded in shadows, manipulates the memes for their own gain, causing paranoia and distrust throughout the town. The kids, already juggling their own failures, are forced to confront the possibility that their schemes might have consequences far beyond what they imagined. This subplot is classic South Park, bizarre, suspenseful, and filled with dark humor, while simultaneously reflecting real-world anxieties about technology, social media, and misinformation. The episode doesn't just deliver jokes, it builds layers of absurd tension, keeping viewers hooked, laughing, and slightly horrified all at once. By the end of this section, it's clear that Episode 6 is one of South Park's most chaotic yet clever installments in years. The AI memes, the adults' incompetence, Randy's over-the-top wellness antics, and the mysterious hacker all set the stage for a collision that promises to be both hilarious and unpredictable. South Park continues to prove that even after nearly 3 decades, it can still mix cultural commentary, absurdity, and suspense in a way no other show can. The episode doesn't just tell a story, it immerses viewers in chaos, making them feel as if they're part of the madness, laughing, panicking, and questioning reality alongside the characters. The chaos in South Park reaches a new level as Episode 6 digs deeper into the absurd consequences of the AI meme frenzy. The town is now fully divided. Some residents treat the memes as truth, while others are convinced they're part of a massive conspiracy. The kids, already overwhelmed by their own schemes, are forced to navigate a town on the brink of total hysteria. Stan and Kyle realize that their previous attempts to manage the situation have only made things worse, and they're left scrambling for solutions that seem increasingly impossible. Every plan they come up with collides with another layer of ridiculousness, creating the perfect storm of absurdity that the show thrives on. Cartman, predictably, takes full advantage of the chaos. He manipulates the memes to create new scandals, often targeting specific town residents, celebrities, and even political figures. The episode brilliantly combines the town's fictional hysteria with pointed commentary on the real-world obsession with viral trends. Cartman's antics are ridiculous, but they're also terrifyingly plausible, a reminder of how easily misinformation and internet fads can take on a life of their own. South Park uses him as a mirror for society, exaggerating the absurdity of digital culture to show just how out of control it can feel when no one questions the truth. Meanwhile, Randy's wellness empire reaches new heights of absurdity. He hosts a massive event at the community center, claiming that his bizarre rituals can cure anything from common colds to existential dread. The townspeople, already susceptible to hysteria, are drawn into Randy's spectacle, further fueling the chaos. South Park expertly intertwines Randy's madness with the meme hysteria, showing how two entirely separate ridiculous events can collide with explosive results. The humor lies not only in the absurdity itself but in how seriously the characters take it. Randy's unwavering belief in his own nonsense, combined with the town's blind obedience, creates moments that are both hilarious and slightly unsettling. The episode also leans heavily into self-aware commentary. Characters occasionally break the fourth wall, or make remarks that acknowledge just how insane the story has become. For instance, one scene has Kyle muttering about how nothing makes sense anymore, and wondering why anyone still watches South Park. These lines serve as a clever nod to longtime fans who may feel the same way, blending humor with a meta-awareness that keeps the audience engaged. South Park has always thrived on this balance. It's chaotic and ridiculous on the surface, but there's a sharp intelligence underlying the jokes. The commentary on fandom, internet culture, and digital hysteria is woven seamlessly into the narrative, never feeling forced. As the episode progresses, the mysterious hacker subplot gains intensity. Their identity remains unknown, and their manipulations push the town toward complete collapse. The suspense builds as the kids and adults alike try to uncover who's behind the chaos, only to be met with more confusion and absurdity. The tension is amplified by South Park's signature blend of dark humor and unpredictability. Just when you think you understand what's happening, the show twists the narrative in a direction that is both shocking and hilarious. The hacker becomes a symbol of the uncontrollable nature of modern media, showing how a single person or idea can manipulate perception and create mass hysteria. The interplay between the characters is as chaotic as the plot itself. Stan and Kyle attempt to regain control, but their efforts are consistently undermined by Cartman's selfishness, Randy's delusions, and the town's inability to think logically. The adults, desperate for answers, implement increasingly ridiculous solutions, which only make the problems worse. South Park thrives on this layering of absurdity, creating tension, humor, and suspense simultaneously. Every action has consequences, but those consequences are magnified in the most exaggerated, hilarious way possible. By the end of Section 3, it's clear that Episode 6 is both a masterclass in chaos and a sharp social commentary. The AI memes, Randy's wellness empire, Cartman's schemes, and the mysterious hacker all intersect, creating a storyline that is as unpredictable as it is hilarious. South Park continues to prove that its absurdity is never random. It's carefully constructed to reflect real-world chaos, while delivering laughs that are dark, clever, and often biting. The episode challenges viewers to keep up, blending suspense, humor, and social insight into a roller coaster of entertainment that only South Park can pull off. By this point in Episode 6, South Park has fully embraced its signature chaos, and the absurdity keeps multiplying at a dizzying pace. The town is in full-blown hysteria, with AI memes causing mass confusion, Randy's wellness empire reaching unprecedented levels of ridiculousness, and Cartman scheming at every turn. Even minor characters are pulled into the chaos, with seemingly random town residents offering absurd commentary, making decisions that make no sense, or falling victim to the spiraling madness. It's a perfect representation of how South Park thrives, layering insanity upon insanity, yet somehow keeping it relatable and incredibly funny. The hacker subplot reaches a critical turning point in this section. The mysterious figure begins to manipulate not just memes, but the town's perception of reality itself. People start misinterpreting innocent events as catastrophic, and conflicts erupt between characters who were previously allies. This storyline highlights South Park's genius in blending absurd comedy with sharp social commentary. It's not just about the chaos, it's about showing how easily misinformation, hype, and fear can spread through a community or a society. By exaggerating these tendencies to ridiculous extremes, the episode holds up a mirror to our own world, where digital hysteria often has real-life consequences. Meanwhile, Cartman's schemes reach new levels of audacity. He tries to capitalize on the panic caused by his memes, attempting to sell fake endorsements and manipulate both the town and the media for personal gain. The brilliance of this subplot is how it mirrors real-world obsession with virality, fame, and digital power. Cartman embodies the worst impulses of internet culture, and the episode uses him as a lens to critique the ways society elevates chaos, misinformation, and selfish ambition. The comedy comes not only from his outrageous behavior but also from the way other characters react, often with a mixture of terror, confusion, and utter disbelief. Randy's wellness empire also escalates in a spectacularly absurd way. He begins recruiting the kids as part of his wellness initiative, convincing them that following his bizarre routines will solve their personal problems. The humor here is layered. It's funny because it's completely illogical, but it also feels eerily plausible, which is why Randy remains such a perfect vehicle for satire. The show expertly uses his character to comment on the human tendency to fall for empty promises, overhyped trends, and self-proclaimed gurus. As the episode progresses, the interactions between Randy, the kids, and the townspeople grow increasingly chaotic, with each character blindly pursuing their own goals while ignoring the obvious disaster unfolding around them. Adding to the absurdity, South Park layers in subtle political and social commentary. The show weaves in caricatures of public figures and internet personalities not as the main focus, but as an undercurrent to emphasize the ridiculousness of modern society. One scene, for instance, shows a group of experts debating the implications of the memes while completely missing the point, perfectly satirizing how serious discussions online often spiral into nonsense. These moments are classic South Park, absurd, hilarious, and scarily accurate, making viewers laugh while simultaneously reflecting on the real-world chaos the show is parodying. The tension continues to build as the various storylines begin to collide. Cartman's memes are causing panic at the same time Randy's empire is attracting more followers, and the hackers' manipulations are amplifying both. Stan and Kyle, exhausted and frustrated, scramble to find a solution, but the odds are stacked impossibly against them. South Park thrives on this kind of layered chaos. Multiple storylines intersect in ways that are unpredictable, often hilarious, and sometimes shocking. The audience is constantly left wondering what could possibly happen next, which keeps the energy high and the suspense intact throughout the episode. By the end of this section, it's clear that episode 6 is more than just a series of jokes. It's a masterclass in combining absurdity, suspense, and social commentary. Every character, every subplot, and every gag serves a purpose: to entertain while reflecting on the madness of modern life. The town is teetering on the edge, the memes are spiraling out of control, and the hacker remains a looming, unpredictable force. South Park continues to prove that it can push boundaries, remain unpredictable, and blend sharp social insight with comedy in a way no other show can. It's chaotic, clever, and utterly unmissable. As episode 6 reaches its climax, the chaos in South Park hits absolute fever pitch. The town is a whirlwind of hysteria, with AI memes dictating public perception, Randy's wellness empire dominating the streets, and Cartman manipulating events to his advantage at every possible turn. Nothing in South Park is straightforward, and the episode leans into that fully, creating a layered narrative that's as unpredictable as it is hilarious. Every storyline that's been building throughout the episode begins to collide, and the result is pure, unfiltered South Park chaos. The tension is almost unbearable, but it's delivered in the show's signature style: absurd, shocking, and side-splitting. The hacker subplot comes to a head when their identity is finally revealed in a twist that feels completely ridiculous yet oddly satisfying. True to South Park form, the reveal is as much about comedy as it is about plot resolution. The hacker isn't just some shadowy villain. They're absurdly relatable, exploiting the town's flaws while exposing the ridiculousness of modern society. Their manipulation of the AI memes causes a series of chain reactions that amplify the hysteria, making the chaos feel both earned and utterly unpredictable. South Park excels at turning extreme absurdity into social commentary, and this plotline highlights that perfectly. It's a reflection of how digital culture can spiral out of control, and how easily people can be misled by hype, fear, and misinformation. Cartman, predictably, refuses to go quietly. He escalates his schemes to ridiculous heights, attempting to profit from every aspect of the town's hysteria. His manipulation of the memes reaches a peak, causing conflicts between residents, absurd confrontations with authority figures, and complete pandemonium in the school system. Cartman's actions aren't just funny, they're a biting critique of human selfishness and the obsession with instant fame or wealth. South Park has always used him as a symbol of the worst impulses of society, and here, he embodies the chaos of our digital age in the most over-the-top way imaginable. Meanwhile, Randy's wellness empire reaches its zenith, with events that are completely ludicrous but executed with absolute seriousness by the characters. The townspeople, fully engrossed in his rituals, are oblivious to the true absurdity of the situation. And the contrast between Randy's overconfidence and the town's blind obedience is a key source of humor. The show uses Randy's storyline to satirize humanity's obsession with trends, self-improvement fads, and the endless search for solutions that are often meaningless. The combination of Randy's madness, Cartman's schemes, and the hacker's manipulations creates a perfect storm that drives the narrative to a climax filled with suspense, laughter, and sheer absurdity. As Stan and Kyle struggle to manage the fallout, their frustration and desperation add a layer of tension that grounds the episode amidst the chaos. They are the voices of reason in a town gone completely mad, yet their attempts to restore order are consistently thwarted by the ridiculousness surrounding them. Their reactions, often exasperated and darkly humorous, provide a relatable perspective for viewers navigating the absurd world of South Park. The episode balances this tension with comedic beats, ensuring that the audience remains entertained while also engaged in the unfolding drama. The final moments of the episode are a chaotic convergence of all the subplots. Memes are spreading uncontrollably, the hacker's influence is felt everywhere. Randy's followers are fully immersed in his absurd rituals, and Cartman is still scheming in the background, grinning at the havoc he's caused. South Park concludes episode 6 with a sense of organized chaos. Nothing is fully resolved, yet every storyline feels complete in its absurdity. The episode closes with a subtle meta commentary, reminding viewers that the town, much like the show itself, thrives on unpredictability, absurdity, and relentless satire. It's a brilliant reflection of modern society, media hysteria, and human folly, all wrapped in the signature South Park humor. By the time the credits roll, it's clear that Season 28, Episode 6 is a standout installment. The combination of absurd chaos, social commentary, meta humor, and suspenseful storytelling makes it a quintessential South Park experience. It proves that even after nearly 3 decades, the show can still surprise.